So right now, the stock market is crashing. Nebraskans are losing their farms. And then it's going to be really funny when Donald Trump does his State of the Union address tonight, and people are clapping, applauding it. It's also going to be really funny when I walk into work tomorrow, and all the guys are talking about how great Trump is doing, and how he has this awesome plan, and how the State of the Union was the smartest thing they've ever heard in their life, and how it's going so perfectly. Meanwhile, the economy is projected to take a sharp shot down, and everything's falling apart. We're siding with Russia, but Trump will lie to them and get them all riled up and excited. So that's what's going to happen, and I'm going to continue to be sad. You guys are all.
So this morning I ended up on Nebraska Talk, and it was a bunch of people crying, why does anybody care about Nebraska? When we voted for Kamala Harris, when I cast my vote for Harris, that was me saying, I care about you, and I want you to survive and thrive. Okay, you knew better than anybody else that your state thrives and survives off of migrants' backs. Okay, and instead of them waiting for ICE to come, they decided to peace out before they could come and get them. I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. This is what you voted for. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, this is exactly what you voted for. And now you're feeling it. What do you want us to do? You want a government handout? That's socialism. You voted against that. No. Sadly, the reality is that you'll probably have to sell a lot of your farms for pennies on the dollar to large corporations and manufacturers. But don't worry, they'll probably let you work there for a minute.
I have an honest question for people who voted for Trump, but also own farmland in which a lot of immigrants worked. Genuinely, what did you think was going to happen when Trump said all the immigrants have to go? Like, what did you think? Did you think he was going to, force people to work for you guys? Like, make it mandatory for certain people to work for you guys? Because I'm confused. Like, if you voted for someone who knew that they were going to throw out your whole entire workforce, what did you think the backup was? Genuinely asking. Like, did you think that he would make it mandatory for some of them to, have to stay? Or did you think that he would just select another group of people? I really want to know, if this is a serious question, because I don't understand how a group of people could just vote for, their livelihood to be gone over another race. Whole entire livelihood gone because they just don't want another race here. I don't get it. Help me understand.
I'm in 2 weeks. I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote?
I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump.
I voted for Trump, and I regret it now.
As a Hispanic, I voted for Donald J. Trump. Dude, I regret it so much, man.
I am regretting my vote for Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump, and now I regret it.
A lot of people who were like me voted for Trump and have to account for that.
I regret voting for Trump.
So deeply regret my vote for Donald Trump.
I regret voting for Trump.
I was a dumbass, voted for Trump. It was the worst decision I ever made.
I've seen the light, and I got out of MAGA. A lot of us there have seen the light. We have deep regrets.
I feel guilty because I voted for Trump twice. I feel very guilty because I feel responsible. That's why he's still running.
I was with Trump for 9 straight years. I'm disappointed.
So I'm seeing a lot of people being confused about how, Nebraskans and people in agricultural communities can be voting against their own interests. And I have a lot of experience with these people. I'm related to them. And obviously when I talk about them, I don't mean all farmers and I don't mean all the people in these states. But in my experience, the farmers have been living a fairy tale for many generations. They have been told by the government and by our own society, that they're extremely valuable, which they are, but that they are self-made men and that they exist in a vacuum and that we would be lost without them. And most weird, that they don't receive any kind of assistance, that they're self-made, which is a fairy tale. They receive a lot of assistance, but this is the story they've been telling themselves. This is a story that the government has been telling them. And this is the story that they've passed on to their children and their children's children. because they want to glamorize. They want to make what they're doing idyllic. They don't want their kids to leave the farm. They don't want their kids to go to the big city. They want them to stay and they want them to keep the farm. So their kids and their kids and their kids have all been raised with this idea that as farmers, they are heroic. They are, the backbone of America, even though at this point, the backbone of America, if it's farmers, then it's completely made out of like fabricated steel and been replaced by a neurosurgeon like 30 times. They don't see that. So they don't understand. When you live in a fairy tale your whole life, and when you've been raised in a fairy tale, and when your father was raised in a fairy tale, you don't use critical thinking skills. You don't analyze what you're doing. You just keep going with the fairy tale. And you don't choose a political candidate that forces you to think. You choose the political candidate that encourages you to stay in the fairy tale. So that's how they keep voting for the bad people. That's how they keep voting against their own interests, because they're in a fairy tale. They're so enmeshed in it that they don't want somebody waking them up. They want somebody who's going to keep them asleep. And unfortunately, they're going to have to wake up sometime.
Someone please go check on Nebraska. Do you guys know what's going on over there? And if you don't know what's going on, that's why you have me, so I can explain it to you. But básicamente, Nebraska is about to go bankrupt in 6 months. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to smile. It's just a little ironic because majority of Nebraska voted for you-know-who, el pendejo, right? Majority of Nebraska is like, does anybody care about us? Like, we're about to go bankrupt in 6 months. And the reason why they're about to go bankrupt is because the majority of the workforce in Nebraska is built off, who do you think? The back to the Latinos, right? That are undocumented. And they're scared to go to work, and they're not giving any money to the farmers, so their agriculture is dead. They're like, who cares? Like, can somebody come and help us? No, mijo. I have no pity for you.
Regarding all these farmers that are now crying about possibly losing their farms because they voted for Trump, this is why you absolutely should not feel bad for any of these farmers that voted for Trump. Now, the ones that didn't vote, yes, feel sorry for them, go support them, do whatever you need to do. But the ones that voted for Trump, do not feel sorry for them, and let me tell you why. I am a builder, and I've been building shit in Oklahoma City going on like 20 years now, and farmers are not stupid. If you have the ability to manage a farm and understand the weather, the climate, your machinery, the chemistry that goes into your crops, you are not a stupid person. You're just not. And especially when you come from generational farming, you have the ability to look ahead and predict what you need to survive. And so when you have two candidates where you have Kamala Harris on one side giving you a whole fucking list of shit that she's going to do for you and make your life better, and then you have Trump on the other side who can't even come out with a normal sounding sentence, and you still vote for that guy, and you are a farmer, you are either racist or sexist or both. And they're only crying now because now they are being treated exactly how they voted for other people to be treated. Got that? They are being treated how they voted for other minorities, people of color, everybody else, poor people, sick people. That's how they voted for other people to be treated. And now they're the ones being treated that way by losing their livelihood, their homes, their income, their farms. So do not feel sorry for them. This is exactly what they had coming. Quick follow-up as to why exactly would Trump be doing this to farmers anyways, and I'm guessing 99% chance it's because he wants to bankrupt farms so his corporate buddies can come in and do a land grab. Basically what you have been seeing the last few years, major companies buying up a bunch of rental houses and jacking up the price of rents, and it's all going to corporations. It's probably something similar to let these farms go to foreclosure and his corporate buddies be able to come in, swoop them up, and now you've got bigger companies involved in more of our day-to-day food.
This video is for Nebraska farmers. I want you guys to know that America and Israel are the only two countries in the entire globe that don't believe food is a basic human right. Secondly, y'all got played like an old school fucking fiddle. singing The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Okay? Wow. Y'all are gonna make fun of my glasses. Y'all are gonna make fun of the fact that I'm in my garage, on my smoking chair in my garage, next to some crazy ass expensive equipment that, hey, Nebraska farmers, I got time to do all damn day. I can go out and do this whenever the fuck I want, Nebraska farmers. You can't even make it to a town hall meeting. You're about to be broke in 6 months. The state of Nebraska is about to be bankrupt. Y'all voted for this.
I just saw a couple of creators bring up some very valid points. If the farmers in Nebraska lose their farms, the corporations are going to buy them up and screw us over even further. And we should be concerned about that. And it's not that we are trying to make this some sort of a joke, but you Nebraskans need to acknowledge what you did, and you need to acknowledge the hateful reasons that you actually voted for Trump. The hateful reasons that you voted for him that got you in this fucking mess that you're in now. We need to actually hear the acknowledgement, not the, don't you care about us? Because at present, we're digging deep and we're not finding the fucks to give. Acknowledge. Let this be a teachable moment and learn the lesson real fucking quick before you lose your farms. That's all.
So for all the farmers that live in Nebraska, you voted for Trump knowing that 70% of your workforce on your farms are migrants. Now, apparently Nebraska is 6 months away from bankruptcy. Still voted for the mass deportation of 70% of your workforce on your farms, and now are complaining that your farms and your livelihood will not survive there.
Nebraska's biggest part of their economy at GDP is farming.
Right.
And they said 45 to 65% of the workforce is undocumented.
45 to 65%?
Yes. So,
oh, shit.
With Trump rounding up illegals, what have those illegal immigrants done? They jump ship. They don't want to get raided while they're working. They don't want they don't want to get families broken up. So now, so they predicted that Nebraska is 2 quarters away from being bankrupt. The whole state, because there's no workers. Half of their workforce is undocumented immigrants. So now Nebraska is in a panic, is in an uproar. And most of them, farmers are Trump supporters. They got exactly what they voted for. If all these illegals were taking your jobs, why don't you go fill and do the shitty jobs they were doing for less than minimum wage? If these illegal immigrants were taking your jobs, there's all these jobs available. You can do it. To work slave hours at slave wages, you can do it. They literally bit their nose and spite their face. Like they directly voted to deport the illegals, and now the illegals, they didn't even wait for deportation. They working somewhere else. I hope they don't want any government handouts, because that's socialism. They hate socialism. Hope they don't want any government handouts. Put yourselves up by your bootstraps. What's going to end up happening is these corporations are going to come buy your farm, and you going to work that farm. And you're going to be working for the corporations. They're going to buy it for pennies on a dollar, and you're going to be working your farm.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska?